Lisma, but for English speaking purposes I am going with Lizzie. This is my introduction video to my YouTube channel, which I've decided to call Literally Lizzie, which is literally me talking about literally literature. See what I did there? So I am from South Africa, which is baking hot at the moment. We are entering our warmest month of the year, which is February. It is scorching hot most days. Our temperatures easily reach about 40 degrees Celsius, which is 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're getting quite hot this time. How long have I been reading? Well, this is going to sound like a terrible cliche, but a cliche is a cliche for a reason, right? I have been reading all my life. As far back as I can remember, one of my first memories of reading is actually my grandma used to pick me up from school at around 12 p.m. By 1 p.m. I would have to just take a little rest from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. I didn't necessarily need to sleep, but I had to be just quiet. And during this time she would usually lay on her bed and read, and I would like to lie next to her and read as well. I had no idea what I was reading. I borrowed one of her books, which had a horse on the front cover, and I love horses, and in my mind it was a book about a girl and a horse. I would watch her, and every time she would turn a page I would wait like 4 or 5 seconds and then turn a page as well, I'm reading. My grandma loved to read romances, so I very much doubt the book is about a girl and a horse. I'm pretty sure there was a man in there somewhere. Luckily, being a kid, I did not notice that. Why did I start a Booktube channel? Well, to talk about books. I'm on a really awesome WhatsApp group where we talk about books a lot, but also other topics. Then I have a best friend who is also interested in the same genres that I like. But other than that, it's just little old me. Most of the people around me do not read as avidly as I do, or the same genres as I do, so I would like to have a platform to talk about my feelings and experiences and everything. Why do I love reading? Well, also another cliche. I love reading because it takes me away from the here and the now. Growing up, I was not one of the popular kids, I was not one of the favorite kids, but I always had my books. So in a classroom situation or wherever where nobody would talk to me, I would have my books and I would have my friends around me all the time. And that has not really changed. The books have been my friends, the characters are my friends, and that will probably never change my entire life. What book or series got me into reading? This is actually quite a loaded question. Because I started reading at such a young age, I still remember most of the books that I read. My grandma would take me to the library at least once a week. I flew through the books, so 3 times a week was what we did. I started out with books like Winnie the Pooh, Peter Rabbit, Noddy. After those I transitioned into more teenage type of books because I am Afrikaans. I started reading Afrikaans books. My first that I actually remember is a series called Monsterman by Louis van der Kerk. I also flew through those books, I really loved them. From Monsterman I went on to a series called Regenboogrand, which is written by Louis van der Kerk. Also a really awesome series if you are Afrikaans or you may be a mom looking for something that your teenage kids can read. Really awesome series. From there I started reading books like Saartjie and Trompie. Saartjie was written by Betty Nudea and Trompie by Topsy Smith. So the Saartjie and the Trompie books, if you live in South Africa and you are a reader, it's kind of like a rite of passage. You have to read the series. Trompie was actually so famous, so popular, that it became a television series. And up until this day, you can play the first few notes of that song and people will instantly recognize it as Trompie. Even if you weren't a reader, you recognized it from the series. After Sarki and Trompi, I went on to reading a series called Binky, which was written by Etty Bierman. Also a really awesome series if you are a young reader or a mom looking for something to give their kids to read. No bad scenes, no bad language, just pure teenage drama. Teenage shenanigans is a better word. It's less drama, it's more shenanigans. From Binky, I moved on to what you would probably call my gateway drug into reading hardcore, reading a lot, reading avidly, which was the Harry Potter series. I think it's an interest series to reading for a lot of kids out there. I remember my mom took me to a bookshop because I really wanted a book, and the first 3 books of Harry Potter was out at that time. They were all standing next to each other, and my mom said, okay, which one do you want? I chose the 3rd one. They were all the same price. The 3rd one was the thickest. I wanted a thick book, so I took the 3rd one. Later on, I did go back and read the first 2, then did a reread, and then of course read number 4. After number 4, I transitioned to English. Never read Afrikaans again after that, honestly. I think because the series was written by an English author, it's more of an impact in its original language. For me, it feels that way. I would actually love to learn more languages, to read the same book in a few different translations and actually see how it translates. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe it's better in Russian than it is in English. I don't know, it would be fun. From the Harry Potter series, I transitioned, I went on to read The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. Fell in love with this book, fell in love with this world, watched the series as well. If you are going to watch the series, watch the series as a standalone. Don't try to draw parallel with the books. It's really not. It's a series based on Shadowhunters. It's not the Shadowhunters series as it is in the books. You will be disappointed if you expect the books. That being said, the series is actually really awesome as a standalone series based on the Shadowhunter world. For that, I really do watch it a lot. It's one of my safety series that I go to. If I'm not feeling well, I watch Shadowhunters. Okay, so what genres do I like? I love young adult, new adult. I love horror, I love sci-fi, I love fantasy, adventure. Not really a fan of non-fiction books, not a fan of biographies. If I am going to read a non-fiction book, it has to be something based on a real story, which has an impact. Something like Breakthrough, something like The Shack. Those kind of books I will read, which are non-fiction. But otherwise, not really a fan. I prefer to use my imagination when I read. Spoilers, yes, there will be spoilers. I will try to keep it to a minimum, except if it's some controversial topic like chapter 55. But I will always give a heads up, like spoilers coming, skip ahead or skip the video or however, but I will warn where there will be spoilers. So how will I rate my books? My rating of my books will be subjective to me. For me to give a book a 5-star rating, it will have had to have stood the test of time. Something like Shakespeare, the Bronte sisters, those kind of books will automatically get a 5-star rating, because here we are hundreds of years later still reading them. But also more new books, something like Harry Potter, which has already stood the test of time, because kids are still reading it, are still loving it. There's still a very strong fan base for it. So for me to give a book a 1-star rating, not gonna happen very often. I have about eight novels on my laptop unfinished. I have written 2 English short stories, 1 Afrikaans short story, which are finished, but only one person has ever read them, and that's my best friend. She actually, I only read 1. She hasn't read the other 2 yet. So I know it's really difficult putting your ideas on paper, putting it out there to be judged by people, pulled apart by people, by blogs, Instagram channels such as this, which will criticize your work. It's a very, very daunting thing to do, and I respect all authors for that. So I will not easily give a 1-star rating, except in cases where the book is very bad, the editing is bad, the grammar is bad, the spelling, there's mistakes everywhere. In that case I will. So for me it's gonna be mostly 3-4 stars, maybe a 2 if I didn't really like the book. But overall I will rate it subjectively, and I will give my honest opinions as far as I can. That being said, that is me in a nutshell. My next video I plan to do is a video about something I like to call the mass effect. It's my little word that I now use for every book hangover, because I have never had a book hangover as bad as when I finished the ACOTAR series. It was so bad. I actually had to do a reread of ACOTAR just to get over the books. My previous hangover that was that bad was the Black Nutrition trilogy by Trudy Canavan. So I would like to talk about that before moving on to actually rating books and commenting on them and. So yeah, that is me in a nutshell. Hope you like my videos, and I'll see you on the next one.